Welcome to the Sarah Scoop Show. It's time to get the scoop with Sarah.
I am Chris Rankin. I'm an actor, entertainer, I suppose, performer, a bit of everything. Do a bit of everything. Bit of directing, bit of producing, bit of production work on some rather exciting TV shows. Best known, I suppose, for playing everybody's seventh favorite Weasley child, Percy Weasley, in the Harry Potter film franchise. Yeah. For those who don't know what pantomime is, that's probably a good place to start. It's a very British thing. So I'm totally fine with the fact that I guess a lot of your audience is American and probably won't know an awful lot about pantomime. It's the best way to describe it is that it's a musical theatre show generally shown at Christmas for like a month or so around the Christmas period. And it's a family tradition for families across the UK that you go to the theatre at Christmas to watch a pantomime, which is normally one of the classic fairy tales that we'd probably call the Disney fairy tales these days. So it's like your Cinderella, your Sleeping Beauty, Snow White, Jack and the Beanstalk, which obviously isn't a Disney kind of thing, but it's, one of the traditional fairy tales. It's a story of good versus evil, of love and romance and, Disney princesses and handsome princes and all that kind of stuff. The thing that makes it really unique and really special is that it's a full-blown musical production, but with an awful lot of audience participation. So the audience are encouraged to join in. There's certain sort of traditional things that that are sort of woven into the script where somebody will be behind you and the audience will shout, "He's behind you!" And this year, 2020, that we don't need to mention, none of us have been able to do our normal jobs. The theatres have most of the theatres in the UK have been shut since March. And I think I can speak for myself and the rest of the cast when I say that none of us thought we'd be doing a pantomime this year. Panto Live and Going Live TV, who produced Cinderella, this production, came to me back in August with this idea that they wanted to do a virtual pantomime, which is essentially that they would do an online live streamed performance, which would be a live performance for every show. But instead of just being something you sat back and watched, like many of the live streams have been this year, this would have an element where you could still, as an audience, interact. So there's special buttons that you can push underneath the video where you can join in with the cheers and the boos for the baddies and the when something sad or something cute happens, and the traditional, oh no, he's not, oh yes, he is, he's behind you. All of that kind of stuff is right there at your fingertips, and the cast can interact with the audience through the magic of the internet. It's really special. It's two-sided to some degree. Yes, there's parts where we can. So there's parts of the show where it is very interactive, and certain characters within the show, it's not all of them, because of the way traditional pantomime works. It's left to the comic, who's Buttons, which is Cinderella's best friend. He talks to the audience a lot, and he's friends with the kids. That's kind of the sort of, he's one of them, and they're all part of his little gang, and they're all going to help Cinderella to get her happy ending. And then there's the ugly sisters, who are obviously Cinderella's wicked stepsisters, and they interact with the audience in a very different way because they're the baddies of the piece. My part as the magical fairy godfather to Cinderella, my concentration in the story is all about making sure that Cinderella gets everything that her heart desires and everything that she deserves. So my interactions are slightly less, but yeah, no, the audience can shout out and join in. There's special ways. I am not a technological expert. I'm not sure how this magic happens, but it happens, and I know that they can talk and they can see the people on the screen, and it's really cool. Oh, it was wonderful. Like I said, I've been doing pantomime as an actor for quite a long time now, and traditionally I've always mostly played the bad guys. So I've played the wicked queen's henchman in Snow White more times than I can care to think of. So I've been the one to take Snow White out into the woods to kill her and take her heart. And there's another pantomime called Dick Whittington, which is a British sort of folk tale about a guy who goes to London to seek his riches, and the bad character in that's called King Rat, and he lives in the sewers under London. So I've played all those kinds of bad, evil characters and done lots of evil things and got a lot of booze off the children in the past. But it's been lovely to play a magical character for once and have that opportunity. Very, as you said, fairy godmother is the traditional role, and it's been delightful having that little twist on it and making it the fairy godfather. It's been a lot of fun, and I've really enjoyed being sparkly for once rather than all dark and mysterious. Costume is fabulous. It's glittery and sparkly. I get wings. I get to fly around, not literally fly, but through the magic I get to fly around, and it's great. Exciting bits of it because you have an idea what your character is going to be, and obviously through pantomime, because there's a certain selection of stock pantos that you expect to do. That it's not often you get a new pantomime. It's always the same stories, albeit told in different ways. So you have an idea, and I knew where I thought the fairy godfather character was going, and I wanted him to be kind of like that sort of warm, friendly uncle that sort of just wants everything good to happen. And I wanted him to be slightly more mad than magical, because I think the fairy godmother's always that kind of, she's usually kind of quite a little bit older normally and a little bit kind of grandmotherly. And I wanted him to be slightly more mad uncle than that. But the costume's gorgeous. I mean, it's when you see the costume that you kind of go, yes, I know what I can do with this now, because it all the pieces fall into place. And I've got this beautiful dress coat that's all sparkly and purple and silver, and some lovely silver boots, which you must look out for. They're rather special. And of course, wings, which make everything different, because you've got these things sticking off your shoulders that you're just not used to. But it changes everything, and it looks beautiful. Honestly, it looks beautiful. And the other thing about it all is because of the way we're filming. We're doing this through green screen, so where we're filming, we don't have anything else around us. All we have is the other actors and the costumes we're in. The scenery is put in through more wizardry and magic that, quite frankly, I don't understand at all, but I'm very impressed with. And it looks stunning, but it's the costumes for us as actors then make a huge difference, because it's basically all we can see. It's kind of, it is hard work working with the green screen, because like you say, there's nothing there. But in some senses, that allows you to imagine whatever you want is there. And in some ways, that's even more liberating and freeing than having this beautiful set that, even if it is the most beautiful set in the world, and very often they are, what's there, what's around you. Whereas in a green screen, it can be you can imagine to your heart's content. And that, I think, in some ways helps the performance. It's fun. It's a challenge. It's a different challenge. Definitely. That's something I got used to a very long time ago, was having a tennis ball put in front of me and told me that it was, I don't know, nearly headless Nick or something. And you kind of go, sure, got it. Okay. Okay, let's do it. You just, I don't know. It's one of those weird things, isn't it? It's different because, for a start, it's a live show, which obviously makes it different. And inherently, because of that, it's different every night. I think because it's a pantomime as well, the style of the show means that it's completely different. It's not told as a serious thing. It's a full-scale musical in that, it's full of musical numbers, and it's all songs you'll know as well. So there's pop songs, there's songs from musicals and from movies, and things that the whole family will be able to sing along to, sort of woven into it. But because it's a comedy family show, it's an entertainment piece. There's elements of the story that you won't necessarily know from seeing the films, and there's sort of certain bits where you'll go to see the ugly sisters getting ready for the ball, and they're putting on all their ridiculous costumes. And of course, the two ugly sisters are played by men, which is another tradition in pantomime. So there's lots of comedy to be gained from that, and it's it's not the glossy magical film that you would imagine when you think of Cinderella as Lily James or any of the other versions that have been over the years. But it's special, and because it's live and because it's it's different with every single audience. It's unique, and that's what makes pantomime so special. And I think that's what makes ours so special as well, is that it'll be a Cinderella, especially for a 2020 audience. But well, pantomime is what attracted me to being a performer in the first place. When I went to see my first panto when I was 3 years old, and panto is actually one of the it's because it's a sort of Christmas tradition in the UK that the families go to the pantos. It's very often a child's first experience of live theatre these days, so it's an incredibly important part of the entertainment industry and of our sort of arts culture, as well as being kind of an enormous part of our sort of arts history as well. As the pantomime is it goes back hundreds of years, and I could talk to you for hours about the sort of history of it all, but I really won't. But as an actor, for me, it's an important part of my year, and I love being up on a stage in front of an audience at panto time, and because it's the way that I found the theatre and the way that I found my love of performing and live theatre, it feels like a really important thing to be able to do, especially this year when none of us thought we'd be working. Let's face it, we all thought we'd be at home for Christmas, just not working and not having had that opportunity. So it's been brilliant for us to do that in a way that we can still do it as a live show, and also it's great that we're able to support the theatres and bring panto to a global audience this year as well, which is entirely new. It's great, and I think it's the kind of thing. Really, I really don't understand why it hasn't taken off in America, because it's such an interactive experience, and there's so many opportunities for people. I've been to many a Broadway show and many a theatre in the States, and I know how much you guys love to join in and cheer and whoop. And if you've got a heckle to say, you will say it, and I love that. And that's what panto's about. There's so much audience interaction, and the characters can break that fourth wall of talking to the audience. They know the audience are there, and when the audience give us things back as well, it gives us an opportunity to have some fun with them, and I love that. And I know the American audiences are going to thoroughly enjoy it. I wish there was proper panto out there for you guys as well. Hopefully, maybe there will be one day. Obviously, 2020 has been a really weird year for all of us. I've barely done any work this year because of COVID, because it's killed off live arts and all sorts of other things over here that I normally keep myself busy with. But I've been very fortunate over the last goodness knows how many years. Well, it's been 20 years now since I started working in this industry at all. I was 16 when I started on Harry Potter. And I've done a few different things. Acting is still kind of my main passion in life, but I've been very lucky. I directed a short film called Dad for the BBC a couple of years ago, and I work also as a production coordinator. So I work behind the scenes making TV shows happen. And I've worked most recently on some really amazing shows. I worked on His Dark Materials for HBO. I helped that come to life. A Discovery of Witches, which I can't remember what channel that's on in the States. Hulu, I want to say, but I might be wrong. And all sorts of other shows. Atlantis for the BBC, which I know went down really, really well in the States as well, and all sorts of other things. And 2021's got a lot of things in the pipeline, including a lot of live stuff and a lot of performances hopefully around Europe, which fingers crossed they go ahead. But at the moment, it's just also kind of, we don't know what's going to happen with the pandemic going on, and we've got Brexit happening over here as well, where Britain leaving the European Union. So there's all sorts of complicated things that mean at the moment I've got all sorts of things lined up in the pipeline and no idea when they're happening, but fingers crossed they will go ahead. Oh, I forgot Downton Abbey I worked on as well. That's another one I know you guys love over there. So very lucky guy is what I am. I seem to have had some very lucky opportunities come my way, so I'm very grateful for them. You know what my dream role is, and I keep saying this out loud in the vague hope that one day it happens, is to play King George in Hamilton. I mean, that would be the dream. It's such an amazing role in such an amazing show. But yeah, there's so many amazing things out there, so many amazing shows and amazing films and plays and all sorts going on at the moment that, I mean, there's always an exciting role just around the corner. You just have to hope that it comes your way, don't you? Ooh, what have we been watching recently? Just finished watching the latest season of The Crown. Obviously, another big, fabulous show from the UK. That's amazing if you haven't watched it. I'm trying to think. We've been watching actually a lot of all sorts of different things, and going back and watching a lot of old films and a lot of old TV shows over lockdown. But there's very popular things in our house. RuPaul's Drag Race is a big favorite in our household. So we're looking forward to more of that coming up very soon. Trying to think. Do you know what? You've put me on the spot, and literally everything I've been watching for the last 8 months has just disappeared out of my head. Just gone like that, just gone. New Amsterdam, we were watching that, although we're still waiting eagerly for the next half of that season. There's a great show that I just started watching called The Queen's Gambit on Netflix. Very, very good. A Discovery of Witches is very good. I might be biased because I did work on that for a while, but it's very good. Just about to start watching the second season of His Dark Materials as well. So there's loads of great stuff coming up. There's some amazing things out there. 2020 has been a funny old year, and thank goodness we've had lots going on with people live streaming shows like us, and there's been so much kind of enthusiasm to get as much content out to keep people entertained as possible, especially from the theatre communities here and in the States. Broadway's done some amazing things as well. Hopefully 2021 we'll still have some good stuff to watch, and we haven't just seen it all this year. But The Newsroom, which was an Aaron Sorkin show with Jeff Bridges and Emily Mortimer, that finished a lot earlier than it should have done, I think. But that's for if you're looking for good scripts and really tight writing, that is a really good show to watch. I mean, Harry Potter is literally is to be thanked for literally everything that's happened to me in the last 20 years. I wasn't even an actor when I got there. I was 16 years old and just finishing my exams at the end of high school, and was very, very lucky to be the right ginger kid in the right place at the right time. And yeah, without Harry Potter, goodness only knows what I'd be doing now. I've absolutely not the first idea. I was 16. It was before I'd even really decided what I wanted to do. I thought acting was probably what I wanted to do because I loved it so much. But yeah, it could have gone in any direction. So it's been a trip these last 20 years. If you'd asked me 20 years ago, honestly, if I thought I'd be sat here now, being lucky enough to have had the amount of work I've had and the kind of work I've had and the opportunities I've had, I don't think I'd believe you. And I certainly don't think I'd have thought I'd still be talking about Harry Potter 20 years later, but it's a huge relief that we are. It continues to capture people's imagination. And I think the themes of, acceptance and finding people who are like you and, loving people regardless of who they are or where they come from, that's what I got from Harry Potter. And I think it still rings true for an awful lot of people, which is fabulous. They really do stand the test of time. And that's, I think, a lot down to the fact that wherever possible, they did everything for real. Like, it was only when they physically couldn't make something happen in front of a camera that they got the computer effects in. So yeah, so I think they did remarkably well, and it has stood the test of time. Thank goodness. Only a lot of bits of paper. I have all the scripts from the films I was in, all the call sheets, all the schedules, all the things like that, premiere invites, all that kind of stuff. But no, I was a good boy and I didn't steal anything. I can't speak for anybody else. I know some of them have some things they're not supposed to, but that's between them and their conscience, not mine. I wish I had, but no. The nearest thing I've got is my replica wand, which is nice, but it says made in China on the box, so it's not quite the same. We've got the studio tour at Leavesden Studios now, which is like sort of the archive of everything Harry Potter. So yeah, they keep everything. They know where everything is. It's all got to be counted back in and out at the end of the day. Like, you couldn't even nip to the toilet break without having to give your wand back to the props guy. It was very serious. Yeah, we took it very seriously. We had hundreds and hundreds of extras working there. So you'd find something like, I don't know, a plate from the Great Hall would turn up on eBay or something, and they'd be like, who stole that? Who was it? Mm-hmm. And you'd never see them again.
Thank you for watching The Sarah Scoop Show. Head to sarahscoop.com for more.